from Ngoma Gongwa, MONBASA, MVITA. Today's topic is from the Bhagavad Gita or the Gita. I'm going to talk about a great warrior who fought for one day in the Kurukshetra war. One day. He died at the end of that day. But he had fought a very great battle. This great warrior was a son of one of the Pandava brothers, Bhim. Just like in the Zorah, where they say Adam had another wife in the Zorah, the one that they were created with, from the spiritual form. She was called Lilith, but eventually she left. And the Zorah says Lilith is the mother of all demons. And so does the Gita about Bhim. Bhim had a human wife, and during his movements around the earth, he met a demoness, and they had a son. So the son was half human, half demon. The son was called KATOCHAK. She was brought up by the mother. He was brought up by the mother. He did not ascribe to all the characters of the demon because they had terrible habits. According to the Gita, demons would eat also humans. So the mother of KATOCHAK, when she got into a relationship with Bhim, she stopped eating human beings. So KATOCHAK was brought up, a boy who was half human, half demon, but with respect to human beings. I always wonder, because many of the technologies that happen around, I told you in the past video, there was a time when we were talking of unidentified things like that. And I have a cousin who is a pastor. He had studied in America. So one time when I visited their places, I started talking about that. And he told me, those demon crafts. I didn't take it seriously. But Bhim, he said, had a craft that would move at the speed of lightning. Bears any resemblance? So, Bhim had a son called KATOCHAK, like I was saying, half demon, half human. And when the Kurukshetra war began, the sons were fighting with their fathers on one side. So Bhim sent a message to the demon kingdom. He wanted his son to come and assist them in the war. And the day KATOCHAK came, things had been rough on the Pandavas. The Kauravas had really hammered them. But with the coming of KATOCHAK, everything changed. He arrived towards the evening and he fought a battle that they had never seen. They used to blow the kuch, it's a shell from the ocean, when the sun was setting for to stop, because they were not, the Kauravas and the Pandavas did not fight through the night. In the evening, in the night, it was a time to go back to the camps, prepare, rest, and wait for the following day to start the war. But this battle that day extended. Nobody was blowing the kuch because the Kauravas thought they would take it. But with the coming of KATOCHAK, he turned everything upside down. He fought with designs, weapons that the human beings did not know. He waged a war. He would increase in size. He would use weapons that were not common to human beings. It was devastating. It looked like the Kauravas were going to be crushed. It looked like the Kauravas were going to get their last walloping. And the Pandavas encouraged, in fact, they didn't want the kuch to be blown. No, they wanted the war to go on. They wanted that shell not blown, but they wanted the war to go on because KATOCHAK was wreaking havoc on the Pandava army. And there was only one solution. There was a weapon that the elder brother of Bhim and Arjun had, which he had been told he would not use it unless during the last war, because Arjun had that kind of weapon. They had spiritual weapon and physical weapon. And amongst the spiritual weapons that Arjun had, Karna had managed to get that weapon from the god concerned. It was called the Shakti spear. Shakti spear was a very effective weapon. When released, it went after the target. You could not obstruct. You could not stop it in any way. It was like this weapon I've seen on movies when they are advertising weapons, the American Javelin, or the tank Excalibur that the British and the Americans make, in that it will follow the target, or the tomahawk, something that will go after the target. Tomahawk goes with the map, but the Excalibur and the other one goes with, once it's focused on the target, even if the target swerves, it will swerve the same motion with the target. That is how the Shakti spear was. And the Pandavas realized that day, if something did not happen, they were losing. So they went to Karna and told him, what's the point of keeping this weapon? Because if we lose, what will be the purpose of the weapon? And grudgingly, Karna released the Shakti spear. It hit KATOCHAK, and Bhim and the other warriors from the Pandavas told KATOCHAK, enlarge yourself. He enlarged himself high as big as a mountain. When he fell, fell, killing many of the Pandavas' warriors, but that was the end of his warfare that time. Why am I talking about this? I'm talking about situations that sometimes come, conditions that sometimes face people, and you feel you're bewildered, you feel things are not going to work the way you wanted, you feel changes you may have wanted are not coming. It is a time you concentrate on faith and following of the legal ways that are there, and encouraging, because leaders need to be encouraged. Sometimes when leaders do well, you say thanks and you applaud them. Just like when you see people getting their things and you feel good. It is during such a time that the Pandavas were really praised, and they released the weapon that Kana should have used in the final war. The war that Arjun fought with Kana. Kana had no Shakti spear. Though Arjun did not use the Shakti spear, because Kana was killed because of the curse of God Brahma, who had said that the chariot will abandon Kana during the final war. It was said because there was a time when they had a tussle with the Brahma. Brahma is the creator God. In all the religion, the one they say created everything. And Brahma's answer was, the day you will need my weapon, I will not give it to you. And on that day, a curse that I'm placing upon you will make your chariot abandon you in the battlefield. And when Kana was in the battlefield, things were tough. He wanted the Brahma weapon. It was not availed. And as he was doing that, his wheel got stuck in the sand. And when he went to pull the wheel out, that's when Arjun attacked. It was not the war code for a warrior to attack another warrior when he is releasing the chariot. But that is when Arjun took advantage and killed Karna that time before he could get back to the chariot. What does it teach us? That sometimes desperate situations may call for desperate actions, but sometimes in the process of a group empowering one, it makes one lose the advantage of the battle. Kenyan people, people of the world, people of Africa, always remain focused on the changes in your countries. It is possible. Do not be disillusioned. Sometimes you may see things are not going the way you would have wished them to go. Sometimes you and the leadership are not moving in tandem. This is what we think and this is what the leadership thinks. But it's always a high time to be patient, be persistent, and whatever changes you want will always come But you should never be quiet. You should demand. You should suggest. You should follow the process. That is what happens for changes to come. You have to follow up the changes. Even if you are growing a plant, you have to grow the seedling, water it, weed, spray, until it grows into a big tree if it's a fruit tree. So for countries around the world, this may be a time when we are engaging things that we would never have engaged. We are looking into things that we never have looked into, according to where you belong, the field where you work. Cultivate changes, initiate changes that will make the place a better place. God acts when we show our faith. And always remember, you are the temple. The power of God works from within you. If you trust in yourself, and each one trusts in themselves, and you pursue the changes that you want, for sure, God will grant them to you. Because He says, those who ask for something, He gives them. So let's have faith. Things will work the way they've never worked before. There is all hope that things will work because God is in charge. That's my take for now.